Hi there, Sam Sorbo here for The Accidental Homeschooler. We are nearing the end of this series, I think, although I am going to do a few more videos. Today, we're talking about curriculum. I've been asked, countless times actually, what do you recommend for curriculum? And the first thing that I want to do is sort of take that apart. So what do you mean by curriculum? Well, Sam, and I'm just imagining the other side of this conversation, I need a book to tell me what to teach my children. I need a book. So somebody recently asked me about history curriculum. And I did a whole, actually, if you go to my Facebook page and throw me a like, the official Sam Sorbo Facebook page, you can find the video up there about how I view teaching history. I was dissuaded from learning history when I went to school. The way that it's taught in school is a deterrent. It's discouraging. It makes history not fun at all. History should be the most fun of all because it's storytelling, and we love storytelling. That's why we go to movies. That's why we watch TV shows. We love stories. That's what history is. There's no reason to treat it any differently. There is no reason to lord over a child simply memorizing names and dates and places in a particular order. There's just no reason. If you tell him a story, and in fact, we know that for memory, if you want to improve your memory, what do? You make a mnemonic, I think they're called. So it's a memory game using the letters and stuff, and it's like a little puzzle, like you make it up and then you know it. Or you tell yourself a story. And in fact, I can't remember the whole thing, but it's sort of like if you want to remember something, then you picture a house and you put each of the objects into a room and then you walk through the house in your mind. You're telling yourself a story. We love stories. So just tell your children the story of life, of the world as we know it, of human beings through the world, and how they lived in the world then and how they live in the world now. I will recommend, I don't like to recommend curriculum because I've only ever used basically one of any particular thing. I did a bunch of research, I found one that I thought I'd like, and then I just stuck with it because I liked it. So I really liked the Story of the World books. So I will say, I think they're excellent. Weisbauer, I think, is the author, if I remember correctly. The Story of the World. There are 4. It goes through the whole story of the world. I particularly like it because they put some of the Bible stories in there, which are historically accurate and true. And so, without getting too religious about it, it's just, Jesus did live, and so did Paul, and so did you know what I mean? So some of those stories are in there. And Israel, and the history of the Israeli kingdom, the kingdom of Israel. So I really enjoyed those books. I also have to say, growing up, I really enjoyed Twopple, The Way Our People Lived. That is a storybook that I think it's historical fiction, if I remember correctly. And so I actually went out and bought that and gave it to my older children, and my children as they grew a little bit older, to just give them a little bit of a different take on not history, not particular stories, but a different take on how people can read history and enjoy it. And then as my children get even older, I give them autobiographies or biographies because those are history and their stories if they're good ones. One book that I recommend to just everybody is Witness. Oh my gosh, you should get that book. And if you don't read books but you listen to books on tape, Witness on tape is written by Whittaker Chambers. On tape, on audio, is phenomenal. Hang Nor's book about the Khmer Rouge, it's called A Cambodian Odyssey, is a phenomenal book that a young person should read to understand the battle of worldview that we are currently in. So yeah, asking me specific curriculum, there are some out there. You need to do some research. You may not. So okay, here's the second part of this whole discussion. Curriculum, I need curriculum. No, you don't, okay? Because this urge to get curriculum is driven by this idea that school fits in a box or it's in a book. Education is in a book. No. And so later this week, I'm going to talk about other options for curriculum that aren't actually curriculum, right? That are diverse. And so for me to just stand here and say, well, get this curriculum and then go over to this website and buy this curriculum. No, you make a curriculum because children don't fit in a box. It isn't one size fits all. So yeah, the base curriculum, great. Story of the world is great because it just gives you the story of the world, with sort of the high points, right? The highlights of the story of the world. Excellent for young kids, just to expose them to that storytelling, get them excited about that. Why do we teach history? It teaches our children that they have a place in it. And we want them to feel like they have a place in it. Because when you feel like you have a place in it, then you have a relationship with it, you have a responsibility, and you have value. And we want our children to feel like they have value. And that's also why we homeschool. So let's see. The other curriculum that I do embrace, that I will advocate for, even though it's not like they pay me, I don't have a relationship with them. I found Shirley Grammar totally rocked my world. I was with a homeschooler last night, and I was just telling her, oh, you have to go get this. This is the best. Shirley Grammar for young kids, so first grade on up, basically. And you start them young, and it teaches them that the English language has order. And that is such an important lesson. And until you do it, you might not understand it. It's hard because it's sort of like once your eyes are opened and have you ever looked at one of those 3D drawings and you're supposed to stare at it for a long time. It's a computer generated sort of image and it's a lot of repetition, and if you stare at it long enough, it's sort of like if you remember the color the vision tests for color blindness. And you could see right away, if you're not colorblind, you could see right away. There are green dots, there are red dots. The red dots say 67. The green dots are just around the red dots. But if you're colorblind, you wouldn't be able to see that. And these 3D images are kind of like that, except that you are blind to them until you can relax your focus enough. And then the image just pops out of the 3D version pops out of the image. So the image is just sort of a wash of a bunch of weird graphic stuff, but then all of a sudden a 3D car that's colored with all that graphic stuff emerges. And it's kind of like that. It's like you don't quite understand it. You're like, well, why teach grammar? What's the point? Start teaching it and then you learn. It's an amazing, amazing thing. That's why I just want every parent, every adult should have an opportunity to teach a child. Should just have this phenomenal experience, because it's also about you. It's not just about the child. It's not just selfless. It's not selfless. It's fun. Okay. Please subscribe. And also go to samsorbo.com and send me an email. I'll sign you up for the newsletter so I can keep in touch with you. Goodness knows we have to do that these days. I don't know how long Facebook is going to allow me to post some of the things that I'm posting, or Twitter for that matter. Do follow me on Twitter at The Sam Sorbo Show. Also go to the official Sam Sorbo Facebook page if you would please. All the links are in the description. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow.